It's the Bush League Mud Show.
It's the Bush League Mud Show. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Make some noise!
All right, yo, what is going on? Bush League Mud Show coming at you March 9th, 2022. This is your AEW Dynamite review. Boys back in Florida coming off the heels of the Revolution pay-per-view this past weekend. Slade
PJ.
Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts and follow us on social media. Promise we will follow you back at Bush League MS Pod. Not really sure. I've not gone online. I've not looked, many different avenues at all, PJ, in terms of what people thought of the show tonight.
I could tell you what I thought.
Well, I was pretty disappointed coming off the pay-per-view from this past weekend. I thought it was very lackluster, and it had nothing to do with the fact that you didn't see MJF or Punk or anything like that. I thought that they had a few things that I actually enjoyed, and we'll talk about that, but I felt that the placement in terms of how they laid things out for this show, I was... As you would think, you would think that a pay-per-view like Revolution, where they loaded up the card or at least attempted to, and coming back your flagship show on a Wednesday night, national TV, that we would get some type of a boom, and I didn't feel that we got that at all.
No, this reverted back to pre-Punk, pre-Moxley, AEW. This was not, even though Moxley and Danielson were on the show, man, this thing, this was hard to watch. This, like you said, we're coming out of the pay-per-view. We're going to get fresh storylines maybe, or some things developed here that are going to draw some interest. But, man, there was just a lot going on. And quite frankly, some of these matches, I don't know if it was a lot of styles clashes or what, but there were a lot of botch moments, unfortunately, in some of these matches. I was afraid someone was going to get seriously hurt. Now, I know when we get to the end, they played that angle up, but, there were a lot of damn near misses tonight with neck injuries.
Well, let's get right into it because it actually happened in the first segment. We got Chris Jericho kicking off Dynamite on TBS, and the crowd was behind him, and this was coming off his loss at Revolution to Eddie Kingston. So he comes down, and he said it had awakened something in him that he thought was gone. And then he admitted frustration. He refused to shake Kingston's hand at the pay-per-view after Kingston beat him and made him tap. And he basically called for Kingston to come out to the ring so he could make amends and he could do what he felt was right. So we get Kingston admitting that Friday before the pay-per-view, he wanted to no show and give in to the demons that have plagued him throughout his life. And the only reason that he did not, it was the 4 separate people that told him that his Players Tribune article saved their lives. So he said that he hopes that he made him proud. He then asked Chris Jericho what haunts him and prevented him from shaking his hand at Revolution. That's when we get Jericho admitting that he was wrong and they would have had, and they shook hands in time for 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. Because why not, right? 2.0, they get on. They never won any matches. I call them the Putty Patrol from Power Rangers. These are guys who are they're on every episode, but they never won any battles. Well, they finally won a battle tonight, but it had nothing to do with a 1-2-3 count. They come down to attack both Jericho and Kingston, and that's where they're immediately chased by Santana and Ortiz. So we get Santana and Ortiz that rush to the ring and make the save as Jericho and Kingston have already been jumped by Daniel Garcia in 2.0. That's only for Jericho to turn and attack his inner circle teammates with a baseball bat. And you pointed something out that you caught on real quick that you weren't too surprised. Now, I figured that there was going to be some type of shenanigans. I just didn't think that it would be this early. I didn't think that it would be tonight. There were a lot of things that went on tonight in terms of some events that I knew would happen eventually down the line. I just didn't know if they were going to do it tonight. But anyways, you talked about the jacket.
Well, the jacket on Jericho.
That was a giveaway for you.
It was a giveaway. The patch said like original Inner Circle member or something like that. And I'm like, okay, usually I haven't seen these jackets out lately or whatever, but when he's holding on to that fact, I'm like, okay, I feel a turn is coming here. I thought that was just a giveaway because they're all original inner circle. There's no new components of the inner circle that have ever been changed out or been, I guess, MJF. I guess that's the only guy that was in and out of the group. Other than that, they've all, well, Jeff Cobb. But other than that, they've all been original members. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I think we're going to see what we're having here.
Just when I try to forget about Jeff Cobb.
Dude, I mean, this show was back from that time period.
I don't think it was that far back.
Damn near, I think.
But we get Jake Hager, who ends up coming out, and he's stunned of what he's seeing. He gets into the ring. He's questioning Jericho's actions before then showing his true colors. He knows where his bread is buttered, and that's by Chris Jericho and the Bubbly, so he joins in on the fun, and they all attack Santana and Ortiz.
Awkward attack of sort. I mean, when he made that first hit, you didn't know if he accidentally ran into Ortiz or not. It was rough, this turn.
Yeah, we end up, Jericho adds a bat shot to the head of Kingston. Hager then drives him through the timekeeper's table at ringside. The 2.0 grabbed, and this was scary.
Very.
Because Hager already struggled lifting. Now, they're on the apron, and Hager lifts him up and is already starting to lose balance. So we got the guys in the ring that have to help prop him up. And then the release as they drop Kingston. There was a lot of legs over the head coming down of Kingston, and I was really concerned about the neck. Hopefully he's okay. I didn't hear anything otherwise.
I hope so too.
But basically we got the egotistical demo god introducing fans to the Jericho Appreciation Society, if you will, to close out this segment. So your new inner circle now of what we have. If anyone can turn it around for Daniel Garcia in 2.0, I guess why not? Chris Jericho, huh? Jake Hager, 2.0, Daniel Garcia. This is your new inner circle. Thoughts?
Yeah, Jericho. I mean, I had praise for Jericho. It looked like he was turning things around with this new run here in AEW with the Kingston.
I thought we were going to get a long babyface run out of Jericho.
I thought so too, but now he's a loser. This group is loser groups. And the beatdown. Okay, first 15 minutes of the show, we got to break a table. You just beat everyone in the damn ring with a baseball bat. Right? But my point is, you're like beating a dead horse at that point. And to do that spot, it was just ugly. It was not needed. Not at all. That's not. Eddie Kingston's one of your biggest stars. You don't need to be putting him through that. I don't know if he agreed to it or whatever, but god damn, that spot was just difficult to watch.
I guess for me, the Jake Hager thing, outside of the strength and numbers thing over Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz, we really didn't need to see Hager.
No.
But I guess once and for all, Sammy Guevara really is not a part of the inner circle.
Yeah, I guess that Twitter breakup on you didn't have to run into the ring. You just broke up with the inner circle on Twitter, and that's all that takes.
Okay. So that was that first segment there. We get on to the next one. This was a AEW World Championship match. Hangman Adam Page is coming off of a victorious Sunday night against Adam Cole, baby.
Just think of this
He's
formatting.
depending, yes.
Second match after all that, your world champion is on.
This was my thing. Ever since Hangman Page has been the AEW World Champ, in terms of how they position him on the show, he doesn't feel like a main event until we get to the pay-per-view, and then all of a sudden we want to put him on as the main event match.
And that's
but
their
then
fault,
we come
though.
back around on Wednesday and put him as the second segment
match.
with a guy that we had no idea Dante Martens all of a sudden was the number 2 contender for the AEW World Championship.
My jaw just about dropped when I found out this is a championship match. I was shocked.
Yep, that is your that was your match there. So Top Flight's Dante Martin, his brother's back, but still doing his individual thing, his solo stuff right now. Page, he ended up overcoming a pretty solid effort by Martin. It wasn't a terrible match by any means. It was just kind of hard to get into, being that, again, the way that we position Page on the show, it doesn't feel like he's the champ, but yet we want to put him in the main event match, and then we come out of the pay-per-view and we put him in the match with Dante Martin. So that kind of, I would have almost would rather that it was a match with him and O'Reilly or him and Fish.
Yes, something.
I could have gotten into that.
Since that's where we're going after this, basically, again. So, I mean, that would have made more sense.
Yeah. So we got some reversals, some counters in this match, and eventually Martin gets turned inside out by a buckshot lariat for the win, and another successful title defense by Hangman Adam Page. Immediately, Tony Schiavone, he joins Page in the ring for a promo following the win. Dante Martin, he's already on the ramp. He's on his way back to the back into the gorilla, but Page immediately calls Martin to get back into the ring, showed him some respect for everything that he's gone through over the last year with the brother being out with a severe injury and being able to hold his own as far as a singles competitor. So he wanted Martin to know that he had all the respect in the world in terms from him. And that was when we ended up getting interrupted by Adam Cole, who came out and called Page's victory at Revolution. He called it a fluke and said that anybody every now and then can get a little lucky, but he promised that the next time that they fight, he won't be so lucky. So that is why Adam Cole then, and I'll admit, PJ, he hooked me. He got me because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're actually going to get a rematch next week on live TV between these two. They rarely do it. You know, they just very rarely do it. No, the guy who lost the World Championship match at the pay-per-view, who called it a fluke, then went on to say that next week he will see Hangman Adam Page in the ring, not in a one-on-one rematch for the title, but a 6-man tag match.
Yeah.
Where Hangman Adam Page is free. He's got an entire week to go out and pick whoever he wants to be his partners. And he was teasing that the partners that know Page better than he knows himself. So he said that he will not stop until he wins the world title. So this is step one in getting the AEW World Championship. PJ is a 6-man tag match.
Yeah,
so
more of the same program that you saw from the last 2 months leading in with just I don't know what we're doing with Adam Page.
Well, I think if anything, what this does is this drives another wedge in between Red Dragon, Cole, and the Young Bucks. Something tells me this could be the Young Bucks being Adam Page's partners of choice for next week because he turned down the Dark Order. We did a backstage segment with Alex Marvez. We got a little bit too much Alex Marvez in this show.
We said Jungle Express in the interview.
But, correct.
Cole, or Page, fucking Adam. That's part of the problem with this, but that could end up changing. Who knows?
Who knows?
With the booking, yeah.
Right.
He said to the Dark Order that was going on.
You know, in order to have gotten Page to this point of being the AEW World Champ, we needed him to be taken more serious, and part of that journey was to lay off the Dark Order. So he'd already turned him down and said, hey, and we're talking last year. He already said, hey, guys, I need to, it's been fun. I need to do this on my own. And then all of a sudden, they were back cracking jokes and drinking beers and shit together.
Yep.
He gets the world title. He's hanging around him again. And now he's got to turn him down again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're 1 foot in with Dark Order with Adam Page and 1 foot out. And I also found it funny, too, with the Jurassic Express being that Anna Jay, number one, is still hanging around the Dark Order. And she is the girlfriend to Jungle Boy.
Yeah. They won't expose that relationship on camera, but we'll find out another one later on that they're totally fine with, even though months before something else is going on in the ring. But this whole damn program, like I said, from just the booking of where it was placed on the show, my guess is why he faced Martin was so Martin can just take the impressive bump, so it looks like it was a pretty damn big victory from Page, even though they made it look pretty, back and forth. They gave Martin a little much offense, but again with Cole and he's got to get away from the goddamn Young Bucks
or the Dark Order.
He's got to wait for all that program because again, as we're talking about this, still in my mind, and I know we're not supposed to, he got beat by Orange Cassidy, and he's in the title picture now. It's hard for me to imagine that.
Revolution brought us a pretty physical match with some blood. Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. This match ended up being used to unite them under the now leadership of William Regal.
Mm-hmm.
And they put it to the test for the first time earlier tonight on Dynamite by facing the team of JD Drake and Anthony Henry of the Workhorsemen.
I said this should be done in 2 minutes, and it wasn't.
Moxley and Danielson, they pretty much dominated this match, though. It was a squash. At least you could give them that.
A little bit.
And Danielson was unleashing some hell in this match, both on Drake and Henry. Very physical, very intense. Moxley ended up dropping Henry with the paradigm shift on the arena floor, while the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, he ended up stomping away on the face of Drake and eventually made him tap out to the label lock. After this match, second match in a row, we get Tony Schiavone back in the ring to talk to the victor.
Yep.
And he's joined not just by the victors, but Regal in the ring as well. So they had their nice moment. Regal gave Schiavone some props, said that he was one of the guys that helped him, when he first got to WCW 29 years ago. He's back, first time on Turner Programming in a very, very long time. Anyways, he said enough of the nice stuff. He then went in and he talked about how he admitted that he knows that he is not long for this world, basically. He, after tearfully thanking the fans and all that, he gave a lot of credit to Danielson by saying that, look, the last couple of months, I have not even had a desire to really be in this business, being that I am unemployed from the other company. But if there's a guy that, that has kept my name relevant with new age fans, a new generation of fans, he gave that credit to Bryan Danielson about how pretty much the entire career of Danielson, there's always been a name drop of William Regal. There's always been a comparison, if you will, in a shape or form to William Regal. So he considers both Danielson and Moxley to both be his friend. Moxley's always gone on record saying how much of a help Regal was when he was in that other company in New York. And he basically put over his history with both competitors and talked about this team being united and how this is a team that is destined for dominance. So I think this team, honestly, if they did this correctly, we could see a very long tag team run out of Moxley and Danielson. We know that before Moxley took that leave of absence, there was something they wanted to do with these two anyways, whether that have been Moxley turning heel, whether that have been Danielson, maybe a match one-on-one with one of the other. Danielson, Moxley leaves, Danielson turns heel, and now they're together. I don't even know, Danielson's doing some massive heel shit in the ring, but really, this is a fucking babyface pairing.
Yeah.
If you really watch the presentation of these are two likable fucking guys. So I don't know how much heat they're really going to get, but I do think that you could get a nice long tag team title run out of this team with Regal, where they're credible, and I could actually look at this. I don't know. What did you think? This is one of the best things I saw on the show was the presentation of Moxley, Danielson, and Regal together.
What a waste. What a waste.
A waste of?
Just, why are they in the tag team division? This tag team division is a joke.
Where are you going to put them as
they should win the championship tonight. This team is over. And they're going to have them flounder and try to tell me that they're not the number one ranking, all that, because they don't they're not on the 35 shows.
If Dante Martin's number 2 ranked
that's my
world
problem.
Title contender, then this team should be number 1 right now.
This team, and I'm sure if they don't win the championship at the next pay-per-view, just break the whole damn thing up. They need, if we want to take this serious and put the belts on guys that deserve it, and I'm not saying no one else deserves it, but the big names, the names that are going to draw more people to this product, you got to shoot them to the top.
And one night as a tag team, they looked like the most unbeatable fucking tag team in AEW.
And then
after one night,
you throw the Regal factor in there too. So I'm just like, I don't know where you go from here, because you already had the match between Moxley and Danielson. We're doing this backwards again, folks, but now we're a tag team because they got chopped at the pay-per-view from Regal. Okay. they've got to go on a run, and they got to have a championship run. They've got to, I mean, whoever the hell they're going to face, they've got to take them off them at the pay-per-view or before. They've got to get the belts quickly here to maximize what they have with these guys.
Yeah.
Or else they're just floundering in this tag team division. And what's that say for the rest of the tag team division? Santana Ortiz, thanks for coming. Gun Club, screw you guys. You're not going to be up there anymore.
Well,
now we have Matt and Jeff. Oh, spoiler, that'll be coming. But, well, Jeff already let the cat out on that. But now we're going to have them too. So we have these big names teaming up together. There's only 2 belts. I don't know.
And this is clearly, this is not for the long term. This will be to spin off and give us another Danielson-Moxley match.
But why do we have to go through all this horse shit then? Just give us the match.
Maybe.
And then these guys get back to the picture where they should be.
Maybe it will be world title implications by the time these two face each other again.
How long do they plan keeping that belt on Page?
I don't see it being much longer.
I mean,
that's what I'm
problem.
saying.
You got MJF now. Well, MJF took a loss, and you got Punk. And then now you got these guys, just throw them in the tag team division because I don't know where to put them. That's what it seems like. So, I mean, hopefully they get a championship run with the titles coming up.
Our next match, this was a segment that I could have done without, but I also kind of saw a little worse on this show. We got a match of Wheeler Yuta versus the Bastard Pac.
Oh, yes.
Now, I will say the most hilarious thing that I got out of this was during the entrance because no one could still explain to me. I get it that Penta is going a little darker, but Alex Abrahantes is now coming out looking like a fucking druid. It's like the Druids meet Bray Wyatt. Like, what would you call this? I don't know.
Man,
how did Alex? We didn't really tell the story of Alex. I mean that's fine. It's a uniform fit,
Man,
I guess. In terms, he fits in a little bit more, but it still doesn't. They haven't explained to me how Alex also turned dark
I thought he
as
was
well.
a real life Count Chocula coming down the. I was just like, what the hell is this? He's still in this character. I thought it was just for that match against Alistair and all the other guys, or Malachi, whatever.
Well, that would have been even awkward if he just would have done it for one match and then just came out in regular street clothes. You got to wear it now, literally. No pun intended. You got to wear it now.
But now we got 2 groups that are supernatural hell demon guys, and one's supposed to be heels, one's supposed to be faces. I don't know. Go back to the old Alex, and Penta says, that's what we want. Unless you're liking this druid shit.
Well, we got Pac versus Wheeler Yuta. The Bastard pretty much dominated this match. There wasn't too much. And this really wowed me, too, because Wheeler Yuta actually came down to the ring with more at his arsenal, even though Orange Cassidy's got his arm in a brace based on Keith Lee throwing him over the ropes and him landing a little awkwardly at Revolution over this past weekend. He's got his arm in a sling, but we still have Trent. We still had Chuck Taylor. Yeah. We still had Danhausen with his tomfoolery down the ring, and Wheeler Yuta still couldn't get a victory. He got dominated and squashed by Pac. That's what we got in this match. There's not much else to say. Pac wins by submission. Your thoughts?
This was a dark match. That's the thing. This should have been on AEW Dark.
And these are 2 guys that even from the get-go, the way they were presented on TV, they were on different levels.
Yeah, not even. I mean, Pac shouldn't be even messing with this stuff. I don't.
I would have been cool with Chuck Taylor being in the ring.
Well, Trent or someone that looks, I don't know, imposing or something out of that group. I'd find it just entertaining to have Danhausen in the damn ring for a match. I know they have him doing all the other shit outside, but if we're doing the ha-ha funny shit, let's just go with it.
Apparently, this was a late addition to the card. So do you think this was a timing thing where maybe they had some free time?
They didn't get it right either because I'm sure people got the end of the show cut off again because they were over by a minute. So I don't know. But they threw it on anyways.
Another one of my favorite things on the show. I know you're going to barf at this. But we'll move it along. We'll go ahead and we'll explain what it was. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Okay. What it was the emergency board meeting of the AHFO. Matt Hardy, Andrade, Private Party, Butcher, and the Blade. Everybody, all right?
Yeah, the terrorist, the Blade.
So we get Hardy and Andrade. They're meeting in the middle of the ring. And we got Private Party, the Butcher, and the Blade. As I said before, they're all down there. Hardy apologizes for treating Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn poorly. And then he admitted that every time he puts a suit on, he turns into an asshole. With his status with HFO up for a vote, Hardy, basically we get an even vote, if you will. There's 2 thumbs up on the side of Andrade, and there's 2 thumbs up on the side of Matt Hardy with Private Party. Now, they took forever to finally throw the thumbs down. Private Party, that is, as they're standing behind Matt Hardy. Yeah. Could barely understand what Andrade was talking about, but we got the point across. Private Party throws the thumbs down. Everyone attacks Matt Hardy, including the Butcher and the Blade. And they leave him lying there. And here's what I actually also liked about this segment. Number one, Private Party, the Butcher and the Blade understanding that, hey, we've been losers with Matt Hardy. Finally, they turned on him, and I'm cool with that. And I know that with Jeff Hardy coming in, that's what this was going to play into. Mm-hmm. And immediately as they're beating Matt down, you know what happened with the crowd? There was sympathy for Matt Hardy. There was boos from the crowd on the side of Matt Hardy.
But they were chanting another name because they knew it was coming.
Well, the boos rained down.
Yeah.
And we get Darby Allin and Sting, who slowly walked. This is one of the slowest saves I've seen. But anyways.
My guess is they were backstage and they're like, Darby, Sting, go out there now.
Sting or Stink, as Andrade likes to call him. He calls him Stink.
And the little boy.
Yes.
The little boy. That's where we're at.
So Allin and Sting, they make their way to the ring. They're ready for a physical confrontation despite there being a numbers disadvantage. And so immediately Allin and Sting, they take the fight to everyone, and now they're getting beat down as well. So there was talk earlier in the day, PJ, that Tony Khan and AEW were looking to seek the rights of using an iconic WWE WWF entrance theme. And I told you that could only mean one thing. It's got to be the Hardy Boys. Well, we got that. We got the iconic Hardy Boys theme music. Jeff Hardy makes his AEW debut. He rushes to the ring. He makes the save for his brother. And also makes a save for Sting and Darby Allin. And basically this whole segment ended with the babyfaces standing tall to close out the segment. The crowd, of course, into this. Jeff Hardy hits a swanton after a twist of fate by Matt. And there you go. Kumbaya in the ring. We get Jeff Hardy now officially arriving on the scene. Mm-hmm. In AEW, bringing the Hardy Boys theme music with him. Again, we knew it was coming. Eventually, that's what this was going to set up to. I just didn't think that it would happen tonight.
I did, because guess when their first booking as a tag team is? This weekend. Again, they did it. He's letting them go and make their own dates, and that's the problem. You know it was coming. And, yeah, because they got their first booking this weekend. At least he got them on their TV, AEW TV, before they made the indie booking.
I know that this is going to, everything leading up to Jeff Hardy appearing in AEW, it's going to get its criticism for this whole AHFO thing. But I'm like, at least as we know it, it came to an end.
We think. Well,
in terms of with Matt Hardy being the head of this thing. Not that Andrade has lit the world on fire in AEW either. I think he's had some solid matches, but I still – and this is what happens when you start bringing everybody in around the same time, is that it pushes guys down the rung of the ladder. And Andrade, unfortunately, has been a victim of that. But there is still, I think, more that you could do. Maybe this is giving him a faction. a big army, a big faction.
They're losers, though.
But my issue is that just like you had with Matt Hardy, it's just a faction of tag teams who don't win.
Yeah.
So what's Andrade going to do that a Hall of Famer and Matt Hardy couldn't do?
They repeated the first hour. Jericho came out with 2.0. Oh, we'll throw him with Jericho.
Heel turn, right.
Now we did this start off exactly an hour later, the same damn concept. Now, obviously, we introduced a new star, Jeff Hardy, and it was great to see the Hardys back together. But they can't be floundering around, screwing around with this stuff. Again, you've got to shoot them up the tag team ladder as well.
I felt that it was missing something,
It
maybe it wasn't necessarily missing something. It was something that should have been missing. Sting looked out of place in this. Sting and Darby, once Jeff Hardy came down, Sting and Darby, they looked out of place.
The whole time, and this was not a place for.
If anything, it made Darby look like a little kid because clearly he's grown up, just like we all have watching the Hardy Boys. It made him didn't look credible to be in the ring anymore, and Sting just didn't look. It just didn't look right.
What it should have just had, instead of Butcher and Blade out there, it should have just been Private Party, Matt Hardy, and Andrade out there, and that should have been the segment. Should have no other guys. That way, it could be a little bit more believable if Jeff comes down to make the save for his brother. This would have meant more. But then when you see Sting and Darby, and you're like, oh, shit, that's right. They're in this storyline for the last 2 months, too. But they just beat them in a trios tag match, ladder, match at the pay-per-view. So why would they get involved with them? And then you see Jeff come down, and it's just like, okay, we're happy for that, but why are these two here? Yeah, it was the whole who doesn't belong here, and they just, again, too many things going on.
Coming off the Revolution pay-per-view in which Wardlow ended up turning on the guy that had been feeding him for the last couple of years, Wardlow, he's joined by Tony Schiavone. In-ring promo addressing his victory at the Face of the Revolution ladder match. And they even touched on the betrayal of MJF. And Wardlow admitted that he grew up poor and that taking the job with MJF, as he referred to as the salt of the earth, that it would allow him to get his foot in the door and some money to support his family. So we're still playing on that storyline, which means clearly these two will have a battle.
Yeah. Even though he said he doesn't want it now, he's thinking of bigger things.
But this is the 2022 version of $1 Million Man versus Virgil. That's what this is. He needed some financial stability. And he said it didn't give MJF, though, an excuse to embarrass, humiliate, mistreat, and berate him. And he said at Revolution he broke off the business relationship with MJF, and now he's free. His only focus now is the TNT Championship, and it is now Wardlow's world, as he put it in AEW. I thought, honestly, that Wardlow came off very good in this.
Yes, yeah, I'll agree. Maybe the best thing in the show. Now, there were some points where he was thinking or struggling a little bit with the mic, but that's okay. It's the first time you actually heard him talk his side of the story.
And he had the command of the fans because he's over.
He's over big time. That's why, you got another young star here that, he's going to have to start, they're going to have to prioritize here because he is over.
Well, his first match, though, has got to be with Shawn Spears.
Yeah, to get that off.
And the Powerbomb Symphony must go on and Spears is a bump guy now.
Yeah.
So he'll take them.
Yep.
We need to see about 15 power bombs in that symphony.
Yeah.
To make up for all of the annoying fucking times that Shawn Spears has come out whacking people with a chair.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what's got to happen out of this program here. Now, yes, he won the golden ring or whatever the hell this match is going to be, but as we'll find out later on, who the hell knows when that title opportunity is going to happen. Because you would think when it happens, it's got to go around. This guy needs a little gold around his waist. Even though I know the old saying is, well, if it's a big guy, sometimes he just doesn't need the belt. He's just big, powerful, and the move he's doing is over. So he may not need it. They may classify him in that class where he doesn't need gold. He's got the move. Yeah. He's got the fans. But, yeah, that first program, I'm sure it's going to be Spears, MJF related, FTR maybe thrown in there too.
We ended up leading into the tag team match of Jurassic Express, the champs versus the Acclaimed. We ended up getting a promo backstage, and it was Alex Marvez with FTR and Tully, and they're talking their stuff in terms of getting back on track, and it's all about family and winning titles and all that stuff. So anyways, I just wanted to mention that because we get into the AEW Tag Team Championship match of Jungle Boy Luchasaurus versus the Acclaim. And these guys, they put them over at the pay-per-view. They narrowly came out on top against the Bucks and Red Dragon in that three-way dance. So we get the freestyle of the Acclaimed on Christian and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus before the match. And as I'm watching this, we get a shot in the crowd. And who do we see? We see the Gun Boys. They're back sitting in the crowd. These guys, I love the heel turn. I love the new attitude change over. Dude, the worst thing happened to these guys is that they were double losers in those tag team battle royals the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Now they're back, just like it's the pandemic again. They're sitting out in the crowd. They're ringside, and they're cheering on the Acclaim.
I don't get it.
I didn't understand that, but it was like, whatever. We get the Acclaim in this match. They were they brought it to the champs, and eventually there's a save in the ring by Luchasaurus, and that helped preserve the team's reign as being champs. So that was even after the heels, the boombox of the Acclaim kicked back to his face. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, they still managed to score the victory. They retained the titles, and the crowd is happy, and there you go.
This was a Styles Clash at some point match. This was some rough to watch, especially with Luchasaurus in there. There were some points where it's like, it was rough at times. I'll just say that. And again, I'm glad that it looks like no one got injured in this match.
And I will say this. They've been heels since day one, but the Acclaimed are over.
Yes.
At what point are we going to see these guys win a match on national TV?
Yeah. How about this? We just do matches where we don't put the belt up every damn time. They could have beat Lucha Express if the belt wasn't on the line. Yeah. Just say, hey, you could earn an opportunity at the number one spot. Give them a win. Give them something. But, they haven't won anything. When's the last time the Acclaim has won a match? I can't tell you.
Unless you watch Dark.
And no one's watching that. Your main audience is not watching that for the most part. A very small, minimal percentage is watching that. So on the main TV show, I can't tell you the last time they won. But we know the rap.
Yeah, I mean, we end up with a match, legit Layla Hirsch versus Thunderosa. And Hirsch ended up scoring a victory, defeating Chris Statlander this past weekend during the Revolution buy-in show, if you give a damn. So this got her an opportunity to continue that winning streak versus Thunderosa.
In a number one eliminator match, which was very confusing to me because Thunderosa was just wrestling for the championship at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, so, Thunderosa, shaking off that loss to Britt Baker. Yeah. And this was basically, I'll fast forward. We get to a point in the match, Hershey attempts to use an exposed turnbuckle to her advantage. That's when Red Velvet arrives and prevents her from doing so. We get back into the ring, and Thunderosa is able to shake off an arm bar and delivers the Fire Thunder Driver for the victory. And after the match, we see Tony Schiavone in the ring again with the victor. And he revealed, actually, he was up on the ramp this time, actually. Yes. He revealed that Thunderosa will be challenging, per Tony Khan, she will be challenging Britt Baker next week in her hometown of San Antonio in a steel cage match.
So we get a rematch, even though we had to go through this.
Can I at least say that at least the steel cage merits these two?
Yes.
Here's the problem. Thunderosa will lose again in her hometown.
Yeah.
This time in a cage match. Britt Baker, they get a shot of her backstage, and she's crying conspiracy and vials that, doesn't matter. That she's going to retain her title. And she continued to go on about the Lights Out match again. We get another Lights Out match where we're reminded again that she lost. So even though it was a match that was non-sanctioned and technically doesn't count by their standards, we still bring up the fact that she lost, but she still came out a bigger star.
Yeah, and I was afraid the announcement was going to be
Why can't this just elevate to
oh.
just it being about the title?
I don't know.
I don't care to hear about the Lights Out match between these two anymore.
No, I don't either.
That's just me. Maybe I'm,
Yeah. And Thunderosa's a badass on her own. I don't know why I had to have all the red velvet come down and all this other shit. Let her stand on her own. We don't need a match. How many matches was that with like a run-in or something? I think that was like the fourth time we had participation going on outside that we didn't need. So it's just like, damn it.
Main event. Were you ready for this? Title versus streak. When I saw this and when you came and you talked to me about it, I laughed. And I said, who's got a streak? And you said, well,
apparently
Scorpio Sky has a streak of not losing in singles action in 364 days. In which I said, what nerdy type of shit is that? But the guy's lost.
Yeah.
So can't really call it a streak.
No.
A streak meaning 0 losses. That's how I take that.
Yes.
You want to know why the Undertaker WrestleMania streak, why it works so damn well? Because streak meant 0.
Yep.
That's what it meant.
Yeah.
Anyways, we get America Top Team leader Dan Lambert, Ethan Page. They accompany Scorpio Sky. Oh, yeah. This was for the TNT title, by the way. The champion title, who is the champ going into this match. Of course, Sammy Guevara. And the streak of Scorpio Sky, okay? So they accompany Sky to the ring, and this is your main event, okay? Guevara, he took one of the first risks of the night, 630 splash, but coming up empty as he crashed through the table at ringside. We get Doc Samson and girlfriend of Sammy Guevara, Tay
minus a chair,
coming out to rush out to check on the champ as Sky is celebrating during a commercial break. We come back, and Guevara, he attempts. Now, they at least play this into the storyline for the match as Guevara would struggle here and there. He attempts to fight through the pain in the ribs. Sky overwhelms him. Then we end up getting some taunting on the outside because Tay Conti stays ringside for good measure for what I don't know. It's 3 of them on the outside and 1 of her.
Yeah.
Not to mention we've also got Paige Van Zant at ringside. So
that's why she's staying there. Spoiler ahead.
So, of course, Tay Conti, she comes face-to-face with Van Zant on the outside. Guevara, he finds himself on the defensive here. Excalibur ends it up reminding viewers again that Sky had not lost in singles action 364 days. Guevara ends up delivering a springboard cutter. We get a 2 count out of that. And then Guevara adds a GTH moments later, but Sky, he's alerted at this point. He rolls underneath the rope. Guevara then tries for the shooting star press, but Sky was able to get the knees up, which added a little bit more pain to those already injured ribs. We get Dan Lambert, who provides a distraction, and on the outside, that's where Paige Van Zant lays out Tay Conti at ringside. That distracts Guevara, which allows Sky to put him away with the TKO. And you get a 1-2-3 brand new TNT champ, Scorpio Sky. As this show gets ready to go off the air, we've got America Top Team in the ring celebrating with Sky, but we need to highlight the fact that Van Zant signed her AEW contract on some papers, pressed aside the ass of Tay Conti, and they all celebrate in joy. And that is the end of the show. Not a horrible match. I will say from a psychology standpoint, this is one of the better matches I've seen with Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much. I thought this was going to be high spot after high spot after high spot in this match. They actually had something to play into. I guess for me, if you are going to start putting Guevara and Tay Conti in storylines together, then get the belt off of him, because I felt that before we got the end of this match that the way that they shot this thing, I felt like they were shining a brighter light on Tay Conti and Paige Van Zandt on the damn outside rather than the match itself.
Yeah.
So we already knew this was going to end up being Paige Van Zandt was going to get involved and get a match with Tay Conti, and that this was going to – but, again, all I can say, if we're going to start doing this with Guevara, just get the belt off of him, and we'll go from there. Not a terrible match. As I said before, psychology-wise, I thought these guys were solid. Dan Lambert, everyone played their role fine. I wasn't offended at all by this main event. I just I'll put it to you this way. If it's going to give America Top Team some juice moving forward, they've got a champ now in the faction. If this is going to get them to be more credible, if this is going to get them to be taken more serious rather than just coming out and just giving jabs on the mic, then fine. And it officially, after we saw earlier in the night with Jericho and the Inner Circle and that whole thing, beat down of Kingston and Santana and Ortiz, and Guevara didn't come down at all. Yeah. Now we know, okay, he's officially away from the Inner Circle. He's got his own chapter moving forward. And part of that now, Scorpio Sky and his quest to get back the TNT title.
Well, you know whose role he's playing here.
Well, this is some Cody Brandy. The way that they stacked them, on top of one another in the ring, this came off by far like Cody and Brandy.
This is Cody and Brandy's role. This was supposed to be their role, I'm going to guess, if they were still with the company, because they were building it that way. And my guess is plans changed, but they didn't change these plans, and they inserted Sammy and Tay Conti into this role against America's Top Team. We'll see how it works. I mean, Scorpio Sky, I like the guy in the ring, personally. It's just we haven't seen a whole hell of a lot of them in the ring. And if you're going to do, he hasn't lost in a year, he should be up for the AEW Championship, not the damn TV title, if he hasn't lost a match in the ring. I mean, for America's Top Team, they needed something to go right after Masvidal got his ass kicked at UFC. So they got a title back here, or they got some good press out of the week for Dan Lambert here. But, it was just, I don't know.
If Cody and Brandy are still there, is Tay Conti acknowledged as his real-life girlfriend, Sammy Guevara?
Not yet. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it was.
That was the part that threw me, is that it kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, she came down and she stayed, and I'm like, okay, well, here we go. They're acknowledging it.
I think they're like, oh, well, this is how we did it before. Well, they're coupled over here with Paige's husband and him and her in the ring. Well, now we got these two going on, so now they can get matches out of them. I don't know. I'm afraid what this is going to do for Sammy, though. I hope this doesn't drag him down.
I don't think it will.
I hope it continues to elevate him because he's so good. I personally, though, I like heel Sammy more, but I don't know if we're going to get there soon, but here we go.
I think what you're going to get, from what I've been noticing, Tay Conti's been getting more and more boos from the crowd. Whether that be maybe, people are sick of her being in matches, or the prior engagement that got broken off of Guevara.
Yeah.
But Tay Conti's got a little heat from the fans, and especially social media and all that. Guevara by himself, loved by the crowd. They like babyface Sammy. But I think by association, this will eventually morph into that.
But if you think of the majority of the fan base, they couldn't get a girl like Tay Conti, so I think they're just jealous, too. I think that's exactly what it is. They're jealous.
So there you go. It's settled. That will eventually quickly turn Guevara into a heel.
Yes, it has to.
This
was a rough fucking
And then
program.
he'll get back with the Inner Circle, and then we'll see Inner Circle and America Top Team again going at it, right?
Stadium Stampede 2024. Are we still here? I just want to ask you one final thing with the whole Jericho thing out there, and I've heard this.
Okay.
Do you think the reason he's gotten into shape is he's expecting a call from New York soon with his contract coming up? I heard that, and I'm like, okay, it's starting to make sense now. He might be getting into shape because New York may be calling him soon.
I will say that, one of the good things that he's got going for him is that he can kind of pick and choose where he wants to be at this point of his career.
Yes.
And this is not to say that his run in AEW was bad. It wasn't. I think he served his purpose for the organization. Mm-hmm. He was a familiar face from day one that people instantly knew, whether you were watching it or not. If he were to leave within the next year and go back to Vince and go back to WWE, I don't think he will be missed. And I don't mean that in a mean way. Yeah. I think he will just because, okay, Chris Jericho's leaving AEW when that eventually happens. Yeah. What I mean is he will have left the promotion in better shape
than it was in. Yeah.
Than it was in when he joined.
Yeah.
And I think that regardless of, the gimmick matches and certain things, storylines and things that we may have been, critical of between with Jericho or the Inner Circle, whatever, again, I think he at least served his purpose. And it's not like they will, because right now what we have with him in Kingston, I mean, he needed something to do.
Yeah, exactly. He's at that point where it's like, I think he notices, okay, our audience isn't really growing a lot. He's a smart guy, but, our audience isn't growing a lot. I've made my run through most of the opponents I wanted to make a run through. I mean, he's not in the Hall of Fame yet, so I'm sure that phone call is going to come and he'll make another run up there.
And let's face it, like every time he's ever come back, it's always love.
It is.
People love to see Chris Jericho in WWE.
Yeah.
When he comes back, it's a big spectacle.
Yes,
it
is.
Big ordeal.
Yep.
So will he be back? Absolutely. Yeah. How soon? I don't know. I think you've got, I would say 18 months.
18 months? Okay, that's fair. That's what I was wondering. When he got into shape,
he'll be in the Hall of Fame next year.
Sooner?
Around this time next year, he'll be an announced participant so I'll give it 12 months then. I'll give it 12, 13 months.
See, that's why I think this is his last go about because, I think he's planning on next year since now Jeff Hardy said, I ain't going to be in that Hall of Fame anytime soon.
Do you have Jericho then, before he leaves, whenever that is, one more time have a run with the AEW title and turn it over and pass the torch to an original?
I think that they can't anymore. There's too many guys in the way now. I
just ask. I just
yeah. No, it's a good question.
And do the honors on the way out.
Yeah,
and
to do
make
that.
a star.
Yes.
On his way out, I beat Chris Jericho for the AEW title.
I mean,
I made Chris Jericho leave AEW.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that. Okay. Now, there's just too much at the top of that card now for him to get back in there.
Okay. That is your AEW Dynamite review, March 9th, 2022, with the Bush League Marshall Slade
PJ.
Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Social media, follow us. Probably will follow back at Bush League MS Pod. Go ahead, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought. Overall, I thought this was a very lackluster show, considering that we were coming out of the Revolution pay-per-view. You thought, you thought it was even worse than what I thought.
This is a damn F. If we're doing grades. Or an I for incomplete. Maybe that's that I was missing Punk. I was missing my Punk tonight. I was missing my MJF. I'll give it an incomplete.
All right. Again, we appreciate it. Leave us some comments. We'll be back at you on Friday. We'll give you some SmackDown. We'll give you some Rampage and some news and tidbits of the pro wrestling world of this week. Until then, guys.